All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started with the webinar presentation today. Thanks to you all for being here, sharing this time with us to learn a little bit about a great, fun topic that is financial aid. My name is Rebecca Griffin. I'm in the picture here. I'm the Student Services and Admissions Officer, and I'm the one that generally hosts these webinars once a month, focusing on different topics related to prospective student issues and considerations. But today I'm going to actually have someone else do the majority of the talking, someone who is an expert in the financial aid arena and is a financial aid counselor for us here at SCO, but has extensive history helping folks to budget and plan to be financially responsible, and he helps lots of students here. You might recognize him if you have gone through an interview here at SCO recently, because he is the one that generally does many of the lunch presentations about financial aid. His name's Mike Garrard. And like I said, he's going to chat with us today about all sorts of different things related to financial aid, eligibility and availability and process, and then a lot of really great strategies about how to maintain a budget while in optometry school. So it's relevant information no matter where you are at in the process. Mike, just to give you a heads up, I'm looking at the names of students who are on the line right now, and it looks like we have a good mix. So we have students who are coming to SCO next year, who are going through the admissions process right now, and then some prospective students as well who might not be going through the application process this semester, but should be doing so soon. So just to give you a heads up about that. And then to all of you on the line listening in, I encourage you along the way today to ask whatever questions pop up in your mind. There should be a chat box. There is a question box, so you can use either of those, and I'll monitor those questions as we go. If there's something that we can kind of interject with your question and ask Mike as we go, I'll do that. Otherwise, we will make sure to get to any question at the end, anything we can't get to during the presentation. So please make sure if you have questions to speak up or type up, I guess. We'll record this presentation as well and post it, as we always do, to our YouTube page. So once again, thank you all for being here. And without further ado, I'm going to get us started and have Mike take it away.
All right, thank you, Rebecca, and hello, everyone. Congratulations to all of you on your current decisions, and then best of luck in your future decisions as it goes with optometry and anything else you may be doing. Again, like Rebecca said, with my background, we want to help, and I think anybody that's gone through our interview process has heard us say that we want to walk with you step by step through this process. That is joining SCO or any other institution, as well as during the 4 years you're here and after. So just quickly, our agenda for today, what we're going to be doing and what we're going to be discussing. And again, anything we can do to answer and help you out, our information will be available as well in later on in the webinar. But again, how do I apply for aid? How do you borrow? How much can I borrow? What types of aid do we offer at SCO, as an example? How and when do I receive my funds? And then debt management, just some tips and topics that we can give to you there as well. So that's kind of our agenda for the day. So one of the questions that always comes up and we want to make sure everybody's aware of is, how do I apply for aid? And as far as it relates to us and just about every institution, is you would get an email from our office upon your acceptance, and it would have your financial aid application, your forms for your federal rights, and then your rights and responsibilities, privacy, and you can either fax or mail those forms back in or email them. So those would be coming from our offices. And then also you have the online info as far as being able to fill out your FAFSAs. We recommend going ahead and getting the FAFSA done as soon as you can, get that checked off your list. And then, of course, any acceptances would have you doing master promissory notes and counseling, and that would be for any type of loan that you receive. So then the question comes up, how much can I borrow? Well, your borrowing is determined by the budget that we create and the budget that is created. Your budget will have, as an example that we have on the screen here, your tuition, your fees, your books and equipment. You can include living expenses, or some of you may have family or yourself that have saved that up, And so we kind of highlight that as something you could include or not include. The tuition rates that we're showing on this slide also have to do with regional and non-regional, and those discussions on whether you apply or are accepted for regional or non-regional positions are discussed on your interview times and also while you're here for your tours and interviews that day. So this is just a first year example. 8 months is what we do for our first years, 10 months for our second years, and then 12 months for our third and fourth years, just to give you a little idea of tuition fees and costs from that particular area. Then on the next slide, we'll have the living expenses. So we want to make sure that, if you decide, hey, I'm going to take care of the living expenses myself, then those are broken out separate. But if you do need them, this is an example of a budget we create for our students here. And you can see that it is for single students, but also taking into consideration any families that may be here and anybody with children. So it just goes into factoring in your housing, food, utilities, etc. And so we always want to go and sit down with you and go over that. Anything we can do to help you with tips, again, on how to keep your budget down, we will gladly do that for you. So next slide shows the maximums on the loan types. We have the HPSL loan, the Health Professions Student Loan. It is usually around $3,000. It is based on your parents' income, and the one thing I would say on this slide is to make sure you're aware of it is the 2017. You don't have to wait for them to get their 2018 taxes done. Right now, like I said, it's around $3,000, but we're getting some word that may be increased this year. It varies every year, and so we just want to make sure that if you can, it is a subsidized loan. And so that's definitely one, if you can qualify for it, you definitely want to go for that one first. Then we have the unsubsidized loans. In this particular case, this is built on our first year students. And then you have Grad Plus available if you're approved credit-wise and if the funds are available in your budget. And then again, we just throw out examples of a total budget, regional and non-regional, to give you an idea of your first year costs. So then the question comes up, well, what if I need more? If I need more funds? And so we just kind of like to do reminders that the only way to borrow more is if your budget is increased. There is ways to do that, which we'll show you here in a little while. But the government only allows certain items that can be in the budget. And if you look down here, you've got auto insurance, car repairs, medical expenses, doctor's visits, co-pays. If you purchased a new computer, or anything like that as you were getting prepared to come to, SCO as an example. And so those costs can be included in your budget, which increases the amount of funds available to you. And then you would discuss with us the types of loans that may apply to that. As we always talk about with items that are included, you always have to talk about items that cannot be included, and that would be car payments, credit card payments, pet expenses, etc. Those can't be included in your budget, but that doesn't mean we as an office cannot help you with budgeting that and helping you making sure that you're able to at least get another set of eyes on your total spending and where you stand and see what we can do to offer suggestions. So with that, like we said, the types of loans that are available, again, that Health Professions Student Loan is a 5% interest rate, grace period of 12 months. It's need-based. It is going to be for your parents' information, and this says fiscal year 2015. Again, that should have been 2017. So just FYI on that, on getting your parents' information, either on the FAFSA or using the data retrieval tool to make sure, or you can send us the first couple of pages of your parents' tax return, and we can get that inputted for you. The unsubsidized loans, again, a 6% rate, grace period of 6 months. And there's always an origination fee for any time you take out a dispersal on that. And so we're always reminding you of that each time you take out a loan, either upfront or throughout the time that you're with us. And then the Grad Plus loan, as you can see, is a 7% rate, no grace period, does have a larger origination fee for each disbursement that you take. You would have to be credit worthy. So, things like that, we try to help you avoid those if at all costs. But we know that sometimes they're necessary, and so those are the types of aid that are available. And so what are some other things that can be done on this next slide? You could do work study. And we have lots of work study opportunities on our campus. And so we tell folks early and ahead of time, start contacting the different departments, talk to the other students, because they're the best people to tell you about opportunities on campus for part-time jobs. And you can see the pay ranges here. It's a direct deposit into your account. And then there's even some tutoring opportunities. And so sometimes checking with us or checking with professors in other departments, like I said, prior to coming, but as well as when you're here, and keeping your ear to the ground on that and keeping an eye on emails, we will let you know of any opportunities. But this is a good opportunity to put some funds in your pocket to help out with those day-to-day and month-to-month costs.
And I would just interject really quickly if I can too, because as admissions officers, we're often asked from prospective students about, whether a student can work while in school. And generally, work study is what we recommend. It's a very busy program. It keeps you just really busy throughout the week and in the evenings. You go to class, you go to lab, you come back, you study. So having a part-time job can be pretty challenging to balance that load and to find a job that actually works with that schedule. Whereas work study, when you're working in a department here on campus, and that could be here in the admissions office, it could be at the library, it could be in the activity center, or working with our facilities maintenance folks. There's all sorts of different work study opportunities, but it's meant to be an opportunity that's quite flexible. Everyone that you work with understands you have a busy student schedule and wants you to put your studies first. So I think work study is a really great opportunity if you're looking to earn a little bit of cash to help subsidize your living expenses here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Rebecca. So again, when you're talking about other aid that's available, we just always like to mention, because these are different types that may pop up throughout the 4 years that you're here and that we've had over the years. But the veterans benefits for anybody that's a veteran, you want to check into that. The military scholarship opportunities, we have students that are doing that as well, and the Arkansas loans, North Carolina has loans. Just to give you, an idea, as the particular state that you may be from, to check into. And of course, any information we have on that, we'll always pass along to you as well. So when we're talking about getting your FAFSAs done, they were able to begin October 1st. We like to have most of ours done by, we try to set them by March, but for our first year students, we definitely want them done by June 1st. But we always like to encourage, go ahead, check that off your list and get that taken care of. As you see on the screen here, you see our school code for SCO. The fact of a reminder of your parents' income if you're going to apply for the HPSL using the data retrieval tool. If you are not a U.S. citizen or not born in the U.S., you want to make sure that you remember to send us information on your alien registration number, just little things that sometimes slip through the cracks. We always want to help you remember. And then again, the FAFSA is going to tell us what your opportunities are as far as what's available to you. And then again, we will send that information out to you. So on the next slide, it's how and when do I receive my money? Again, you will receive your award information by email from us. You will be instructed to accept your awards online through NetPartner, our student portal, and we'll give you information on that. And then once those loans are accepted, we will send your loans to the provider, and then the funds will be in your dispersed to the school and then into your account not before the first day of each semester. Just a little understanding of when the money and the funds are going to come available. So next, things that you may need to know, reminders, things to bring with you, especially if you're going to do work study. Bring in a copy of your Social Security card and having either a student or a ID or a driver's license so that we can have that for payroll purposes. If you have previous loans from undergrad, you want to check in SLDS to see how you're standing on your loans, and then also on your current loans that you would be taking first year with SCO as an example. Another reminder for the living area around here is some apartments will require proof of income and your acceptance letter can always work with that. And anything else you need on that, we don't mind helping you out as well. And then just reminders of the Net Partner student portal, your logins and IDs, always remembering those, whether it has to do with FAFSA or Net Partner, and keeping up with those because you will be required for those throughout your 4 years. And then just, again, anything else that we need from you, always keeping an eye on emails so that we can help you to get all of your items processed and in to us promptly. And then on the next slide, it's just our contact information from our director, Cindy Garner, and on down, and myself. And so we'll make sure that we have that all to you to help you out, to make sure that you have everything you need. So anything you need from us, we'll make sure you have all of our information.
And sorry, Mike, I think I moved your contact information to the end, so we will have it up there in a couple slides.
Much better, much better. So real quickly, as we kind of wrap up this part of this so that we can mainly answer your questions, anything you may have, and just make sure we're giving you the information that we feel like is pertinent. We always love to talk to our students about, with, my budget counseling background, is things that can help you, especially that first and second year when you're working on an 8-month and a 10-month budget, and just kind of getting in tune to living and costs and expenses in the area. We always like to try to throw tips and reminders to you on things that can help you with debt management. Every Dollar Counts is a app that you can get put on your phone, or you can go on the computer, and it really helps you with a very simple budgeting technique. We have also created a budget here for our first through fourth year students that is a 12-month running budget. So if you needed something like that from us, it's just a very simple Excel spreadsheet, but at least it lets you see where your funds are going each month and to help you manage through the time that you're with us. So just little reminders like that can help out. Then the next slide is kind of some tips for budgeting for your first year. As we talk about in the interview process, we talk about roommates. The number of roommates you have helps keep all of your costs down, from rent all the way down to food, etc. Your utilities, everything's divided by the number of people living wherever you may be, whether it's a house or an apartment. Food costs, just drinking water and packing lunches and doing food prep during the week, those things make a difference and can add up and really help you to get through a month. A lot of our students with utilities, they don't do really cable, and they just do internet and Netflix, and they're busy, like Rebecca said, with their studies and with some free time and group time. And so just little things like that. Transportation, carpooling, where you can, because you're all coming here and doing the same thing together, and a lot of our students will live in a lot of the same areas. And then gas cards from local stores, and like our Kroger stores we have here in the Memphis area. And then there's other apps out there that can be used. And also one thing that we have reminded on the next slide is that all you got to do a lot of times is just ask the businesses in the area, and they will be willing to give a discount because you're a student at Southern College of Optometry. And so we always say ask, and you may be surprised, 10-15% here and there does add up, and it would help out tremendously. And also for the apartments and rentals and stuff like that, they may not give you certain discounts in certain areas, but they may wipe away a security deposit or something like that because you're a student with SCO that's going to be here renting from them over the next 4 years. So just real quickly, some recommended apps that you could have. Groupon, Get My Perks. You see the different ones on here for different stores. Finding the best gas prices in town. Events in your area that you might can do. Some free, some may minimal cost. And just little things that you can always check into that come up, and is why we kind of created and reminded the sheet to remind you of some of these things. Because every little bit adds up, and every little bit can help to save some money. So that
I
was
love
there.
Retail Me Not. It's my favorite app. I get so many discounts at so many stores. It's a great one.
Yeah, and with me, it's been good RX over the years when healthcare costs and things like that. It's been amazing to see the difference in prices and just making somebody compete against each other. And next thing you know, you get a really good deal. So, we always want to do reminders about that. And then the last part here is budgeting and spending. Again, when you get to campus or prior to campus, reaching out to our other students to see ways that they've cut costs. They're the best advice givers that are out there, and that's the ones we learn a lot from because they have the wisdom of doing it already, trial and error. So definitely want to reach out to them and use their experience. Being careful with impulse purchases. You know, we always like to talk about how great things like Amazon are and things like that, but it doesn't hurt to wait overnight to do some time to get away from everything, technology and everything, and think about, is that really the right thing to do? Just being careful. And then keeping busy to avoid excess spending, whether it's movies on laptops, exercise, free local events, a lot of the things that SCO does, discount tickets out the area. And again, just asking because you get to tell your money where to go and you're in control. So we just want to make sure that we're there to help you out, and coming in for a refresher or anything like that, we would gladly do for you. So that was just some real quick going over what you need to do as far as, the start and getting going, and anything we can answer for you on financial aid application, FAFSA, things like that you're thinking about, your budget. Like Rebecca said, here's our contact information. You're welcome to call us, email us anytime, and we'll do our best can to help you out. But I think now we just wanted to open it up for any questions you may have and any other comments that Rebecca or myself may have for y'all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. That was really great information. Good budget information too, even for someone who's not in optometry school like myself. So yeah, like Mike said, we want to open it up for your questions now. And as I kind of wait and watch for those questions to come through, I did want to give a quick shout out about our next webinar. As always, shameless plug for the next one we have coming up. So that'll be a March session about the SCO curriculum. So Dr. Lindsay Elkins will speak about the kinds of coursework you do, the kinds of experiences you have academically as a student in the program. So especially those of you who are looking at potentially starting optometry school in the fall, if you're really curious what the day-to-day is going to look like each day, each semester, what your coursework will be, I really encourage you to join us next month on March 19th. It'll be. And so it's a good one to do. Do you guys have any questions for Mike about financial aid, budgeting? Okay, here's one. So the question, Mike, is how do you know if you need to apply for a Grad Plus loan or not? How is it determined which loans you should take and qualify for?
Yeah, that's a great question. On our application that we send out, as an example, there is an area where you will mark if you would like to apply for the HPSL loan. You'll check mark the box. Then the unsub, if you feel like you're going to need that to cover tuition and living expenses. And then if you feel like that those gaps that we kind of showed on our earlier slide for the first year student being only 8 months and the second year being 10 months, if you feel like that you may need Grad Plus, you would check mark that box. And then what we do is it gives us the chance to go in and go, okay, we see what your budget is and we see what your awards are, and that you have requested, if there's a $6,000 difference, that you were going to have that in Grad Plus. We will set that up in our financial system that we have, but we will not process that loan until you give us approval to do that, either on that application, or you can even come in throughout the year and go, okay, I didn't want to do it at first, but now I feel like, I need to look at the Grad Plus. And then, so you can do it ahead of time as you're doing your application, or you can come in throughout the year and say, Mr. Garrard, anybody in our department, looks like I'm going to be a little short. I think I need to look at the Grad Plus route, because we want to make sure that we're looking over everything with you to help you avoid that. And then once we've crossed the T's and dotted the I's, then we will help you with the Grad Plus decision. Hope that answers the question.
All right, and here's another. This is a student who's getting ready to start in the fall, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about, the different durations that students are eligible to have support for. So in other words, a first-year student, her question is, do you get money from loans for living expenses over the summer? How do you advise students to kind of save up and be ready if they're spending the summer here in Memphis to be able to support that?
Yeah, most students, to be honest with you, that is, I wouldn't say most. I'd say some students, that's where the Grad Plus comes in because of the budget being built on 8 months. Some students will have saved up funds from undergrad, or you may have parents, grandparents, someone significant in your family that has said, hey, how can we help you through your first year? And so they may bring funds with them that helps cover that gap. Also, your budget again, is created on the 8 months, but if you've done things to help trim your budget versus what we've actually approved for you, those are ways that all of a sudden you could save some money to do that. But usually it's you've either brought some funds or that's when you may have to consider the Grad Plus route just to help out for that, couple of months till the summer mini term begins.
Okay. And then a question about work study. Can you wait and start work study in the second semester? Is it recommended to participate in work study as a first-year student?
Yeah, going back to something that I think kind of Rebecca was saying earlier, yes, you can wait, but if you want to go ahead and get that position, whoever you get that position with, you may go ahead and secure the position before you come or during the first semester, so that you can tell them, but I'd really rather start during my second semester. Some of them may work with you on that. But going back to what Rebecca said, a lot of the positions that we have, the supervisors of that area are aware of our students in the program, and so they do work with you on built-in study time, but again, it just varies by position. But I would say yes to answer the initial question. Yes, you can wait. And throughout the 4 years that you're here, off and on, you're going to hear of other opportunities that come up, for work study opportunities through the routes we talked about earlier. So either way would definitely work. We just like to tell our folks to be a little proactive on approaching the departments. That way you have something secured, possibly even before you get here, just to help you out.
Is work study also available in the summer after the semester ends, is another question.
Yeah, in some of the areas that we have, yes, as far as because of the fact that we do have summer term going on. So it may not be as many, but there's still professors, there's still library, there's still activity center, they may be minimalized a little bit, but there are still definitely opportunities.
So it sounds, and this is related to a question, it sounds like summer opportunities might be a little bit more competitive for students. Would you say that's true, Mike?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good.
But again, another thing to remind everybody about too is we have some relationships with some of the businesses around the area of the college here that may provide some summer opportunities, and then they can get back to work study opportunities in the fall. So we are always willing to try to help put them in contact with some businesses that may be hiring just during summer months.
Mm-hmm. Great. All right. Any other questions out there, guys? All right, here's a student. If I'm a non-regional student, is there a benefit to becoming a resident of Tennessee? Do most students become residents? So I can speak really quickly. I think I understand that your question is a little bit different than what I'm about to say, because we talk about this often during interviews, that our regional versus non-regional tuition works a little bit differently than what you might be familiar with in in-state and out-of-state tuition at a public institution. So we do have regional tuition for students from Tennessee. And so technically you can become a resident here in Tennessee as a student, but not for tuition purposes. And so our regional tuition funding for students from Tennessee is competitive as is. So we don't have quite enough to even award to all the students who are for lack of a better way of saying it, born and raised here in Tennessee. So if you're not awarded a Tennessee regional contract seat as an incoming student, it's really not realistic to gain residency for tuition purposes once you're here. That doesn't mean you cannot become a resident of the state of Tennessee. I did so after moving here after just a few months. And so I guess it depends on and what you're interested in doing that for. I don't know, Mike, if you guys have recommendations not related necessarily to regional tuition, but are there other reasons to become a Tennessee resident for financial aid purposes or anything like that?
No, not really for financial aid purposes. The only reason why a student may do it is just they may do it for tax purposes, car tag purposes, things like that. But it's not necessary because you're still going to do all those routine things during the 4 years that you're here. So really, no. But some students will do it if they think they're going to stay for a couple of years after. So now you're talking
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 years. But I really don't know of any other benefit that it would matter because again, the regional and non-regional, like you explained, we have a hard time even taking care of our own, Tennessee-born students.
I will say, though, coming from Michigan, that my car insurance is quite a bit cheaper down here in Tennessee, so there might be something along those lines. I don't
Always,
hate that at all.
always things to check on. That's for sure. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
All right, and here's the question. Have you heard of housing leases offered on a monthly basis? Do you recommend getting a year lease or a monthly lease?
Yeah, Rebecca, we probably can both speak to that a little bit because I know y'all do some of the tours, but I know from our standpoint, some of the places are now doing their pricing on a monthly basis. And so I think they're doing that because more and more students, because we have so many medical schools and other types of schools around us here in Memphis, I think they know that students are asking for these 8, 9, 10 month leases. And so I think it gives them a way to look at that. Is that a for sure that they'll do it? No. But again, it's just one of those questions you ask, especially if you think you're going to go back home during the summer for at least the first, maybe part of the second year. But you just want to definitely be proactive in asking that because I just got pricing here not too long ago updated from a lot of our apartments around the area, and that's when I found out about them doing the monthly pricing as far as their ability to increase, and I think they're doing it based on shorter leases.
Hmm. I think we're seeing more and more places gradually move in that direction because of, like you said, Mike, the number of professional level students here in Memphis that are needing something a little bit more flexible. I don't quite often hear month to month as frequently as I might hear like a 9-month lease or 8-month lease. That's not to say that they aren't out there, certainly. And I would say more apartment complexes than, rental homes. And I do hear more probably on Mud Island, but that doesn't mean, again, that that's the only opportunity. So I think, yes, there are places out there that offer a little bit more flexible lease terms. You just have to kind of go out there and ask those questions and hunt for those opportunities. And of course, we here in the admissions office are happy to help. We'll do our housing fair at the end of March for students who are coming into the program in the fall, and we'll have an expo and have a lot of apartment complexes together in our activity center. So that's a good question to ask as you go around. If you're not intending to stay in Memphis over the summer, if you can have a flexible lease in the places that you're considering. Good question. Any other questions out there?
Great questions.
Give it another second or two.
And again, we just want to remind everybody, as soon as you hang up, if you have a question or a thought, oh, I should have asked them this, please reach out to us. We want to make sure we're giving you all the information for you to make big decisions and good decisions.
All right, Mike, it looks like that's it in terms of questions. So thank you, Mike, so much for spending this time with us and for all the information that you shared today. And for always being available for our students. You guys are great down there in financial aid. And they always have candy for those of you coming to the program. They're a good office if you have a sweet tooth you need to cure. And so, so thanks again, Mike, and thanks to everyone who sat with us. If you have questions, like Mike said, reach out to any one of us. We're excited to see a lot of you in the nearish future, and for those of you who aren't going through the admissions process this cycle, we hope that you come on down to Memphis or over to Memphis for a visit. I'm happy to set you up on a tour, keep in the loop about the future webinar sessions as well, and hope that some of you will join us next month to hear more about the curriculum here at SCO. So thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.